Yo, what is up guys, it's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be reacting to Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft where he has the Washington Commanders selecting tight end Dalton Kincaid in the first round. I'll also give you guys an update on the Anthony Walker visit. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content. Also hit that like button and that notification bell as well. All those things are free and it really helps out a ton. The first kind of wave of free agency is over and it's still going to go on. The Commanders are still probably going to sign players, but it'll be lower tier players. There might not even be many signings until the draft. We're moving on more towards draft talk now, a little more than a month away from the NFL draft, and we're going to start to get more and more mock drafts. And once a week, I would like to kind of give a reaction to a mock draft from a national media member like Daniel Jeremiah, Todd McShay, Mel Kiper, not because I think that's what's going to happen, but just to give you guys a pulse and my reaction to what the national media thinks we're going to do, and just to talk about some of these top prospects. Like, I haven't been able to talk about some of these guys like Dalton Kincaid and others, so this would be interesting to talk about it, so let's go ahead and do it. So Daniel Jeremiah dropped his mock draft, and he has the Washington Commanders selecting the first tight end off the board in Dalton Kincaid. I believe it's the first tight end. I don't think anyone else was drafted before then, so the Commanders take the first tight end on the board, and that is a position need. I do think it is. I don't think Logan Thomas and those guys are enough. It really just depends on how Cole Turner develops and Armani Rogers. But right now, they do need someone else. First round, I personally, this is my philosophy on it. This is a very deep tight end class. Like, some people have Michael Mayer as a top tight end. Some people have Darnell Washington as a top tight end. Some people have Dalton Kincaid as a top tight end. And there might be, even be some teams that have like Luke Musgrave out of Oregon State as their one or second best tight end. So there's a lot of differing opinions, and I don't think there's a really big gap between number 1 and 2, even 1 and 3. I really don't think there's that much of a gap. So I think drafting the first tight end off the board is a mistake when, okay, you can probably trade back from 16 and still get Dalton Kincaid, or you probably can get one of the top 4 tight ends in with your second round pick, or maybe you'll have to trade up a little bit into the higher, instead of the 16th pick in the second round, maybe the 10th pick in the second round, and you're able to get Darnell Washington or maybe Luke Musgrave. I doubt Dalton Kincaid is there, but that's just my philosophy on it. Would I absolutely hate the pick? No, but tight end is just a position. Yes, it's important, but to spend a premium, pick like the 16th overall pick on that when the tight end class is very deep, and it's not a class where it's like there's one guy and no one else. This class has a lot of good guys. So in a normal year, if Dalton Kincaid was the only guy, then 16, wouldn't love it, but I wouldn't, be totally opposed to it. But in this situation where he's the first tight end off the board, I think I would be opposed to it. But this is what Daniel Jeremiah says. I wouldn't rule out a quarterback with this selection, but I love the idea of adding a dynamic tight end to Washington's impressive wide receiving corps. I'm excited to see what Sam Howell can do as a starter for the Commanders. I would probably rule out a quarterback. I really don't think it's going to happen. I mean, you think about it. There's a very low chance that any of these top guys fall past 4, forget 15. Like, the lowest any of the top 4 quarterbacks could go, I would say, is like 6 to the Lions, where maybe they take Anthony Richardson. But Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, I forgot about Will Levis too. I mean, I guess Will Levis, where did he have him going? He had him going, I guess he had Will Levis really dropping. I guess down to a team wanting to draft draft Will Levis. That's my take on it. But Dalton Kincaid, in terms of how I feel about him compared to other tight ends, I actually haven't watched all the film on these guys and much film at all. But from what I've heard and seen on some of these highlights, I like Dalton Kincaid over Michael Mayer. It just seems, and these are just highlights, but when I'm watching Michael Mayer, it seems like a lot of the time he's wide open when he's catching it, and it's not like, well, I mean, obviously that's a good thing. You're open, but a lot of it seems schemed up and not necessarily route running. Versus Dalton Kincaid, he's open, but he provides a lot more after the catch, I believe, than Michael Mayer versus, with Michael Mayer, usually he catches it, he might get a few more yards, and he's down. I still think Michael Mayer is a good prospect, and I think he's going to go probably in the first round, maybe the late first round. But I personally like Dalton Kincaid a little bit more. Just some facts about him: played at Utah, we're number 86, from Las Vegas, 6'4", 240 pounds. Senior, has 70 catches for 890 yards and 8 touchdowns, average 12.7 yards per catch, and played 5 years, so he's a little bit older, so he's probably like 22, 23, which is not a big issue at all. And I believe they had a really good tight end on their roster as well. That was kind of when I was researching, I saw that they had a really good tight end on their roster that was starting over Dalton Kincaid, which is interesting. So let's go to his draft profile, read some of his, the knock on him, everything like that. So this from Lance Zierlein is, player comparison, Zach Ertz. I would absolutely take that. If we get Zach Ertz, the 16th pick, I'm not complaining at all. He says, move tight end whose premium talent as a pass catcher will be the primary focus for evaluators. He's a fluid route runner with the athleticism and play speed to create mismatches against lesser coverage. Impeccable ball skills and sticky hands allow him to tilt 50-50 contested throws in his favor. Lacks play strength and technique to work in line, but can handle some blocking in space from time to time. Kincaid can manage a more extended route tree, allowing calculating play callers to open up the entire field in stress coverages. And you guys can see more of that. So some of the strengths: he's fluid and good catch radius, which Ron Rivera loves. Gets into routes with good burst. Has enough speed to threaten vertically and across the field. Sweet feet to break and separate from coverage. Makes well-timed moves for jump ball victories. Above average run and catch fluidity on the move. And weaknesses: not a great run blocker, struggles to stay connected to block for long routes, could use better speed variance. Physical defenders are able to slow his routes. So basically, he's not a great blocker. There's some other things there as well, but all those guys are going to have some weaknesses besides, their blocking, and I think that stuff can be corrected at the next level. Wish they had his combine number. Okay, I guess, no, they don't have his combine numbers, but actually they might. No, I'm not sure. I forgot what he ran. It was pretty solid, I believe. And yeah, so at the end of the day, do I want them to take Dalton Kincaid at 16? No, I think that's a little bit too early for he's a really good tight end prospect, but not one of those elite ones that you take in the top half of the first round, which we're borderline, but we are the top half of the first round. We're at 16, or we're right in the middle. So I just think that I rather, in that scenario, either trade back late into the first and grab the best player available. And if that is Dalton Kincaid or Michael Mayer, I'm fine with that. If that's an offensive lineman, I'm fine with it. And we get assets to get someone else, okay. I think there's far greater needs at premium positions like tackle and corner. So I would rather go there. But also, again, if we draft someone, let's say we trade back to the 22, we take Broderick Jones, tackle out of Georgia. We put him at left tackle or right tackle, whatever. Okay, I don't know how everything's going to work out with the linemen they sign, but let's just say we sign it, or we draft a tackle, or maybe we trade back and draft a cornerback, right? Well, we're going to get some picks. Maybe we get a second round pick. And if we don't get a second round pick, we have more assets to trade back into the second round or trade up in the second round, and then we can take someone like Dalton Kincaid or Michael Mayer or Darnell Washington or Luke Musgrave. Again, those top two guys might not be there in the second round, but some of the other guys will, and that's why I think taking a tight end at 16 when there's not a huge gap between these guys isn't necessarily the best idea, but I wouldn't hate it. Okay, now onto the Anthony Walker news. Nikki Jabala says the Commanders met with Anthony Walker today, and the visit went well, but it doesn't appear they will sign him at the time, according to a person with knowledge of the matter. So, man, I was really hoping this would happen, and honestly, going into today, I was like, okay, I think it's going to happen, but looks like it is not going to happen, and it might happen later on, but the Browns want to sign him. So when it says it doesn't appear they will sign him at this time, well, that gives the Browns time to sign him. I'm upset. They need a linebacker. I don't understand this philosophy by Ron to save a little bit of money to play David Mayo, man. Like Denzel Perriman, former Pro Bowl linebacker in the last few years, got signed for $2 million today. Like Anthony Walker is not getting much more than that. he's getting probably 3-4 million, maybe 5 million max. There's no way you can't offer that. There's no way. I don't care. Offer him a multi-year deal. That even lowers the cap hit. That helps you. I just don't understand it. It is what it is, but I'm really frustrated with how they're handling this linebacker position. They have Ron and Jack Del Rio, who are former NFL linebackers, and they still haven't been able to figure out the position. Really, really frustrates me, but we'll see if they do anything. So that's it. No really big news on the ownership stuff. Made a video about Magic Johnson yesterday. That's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace.